Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Our mission today, well, it's pretty simple. We're cutting through all the noise, trying to pull out the key insights from a whole stack of recent sources.
Yeah, we're looking at a really interesting snapshot, actually,
hmm
around August 9th to 10th, 2025.
Right, just a critical 2-day window. But wow, it reveals some pretty significant global shifts.
It's definitely a complex mix. You've
Yeah.
got high-stakes diplomacy, conflicts simmering,
Yeah.
major environmental stuff, big changes in science, society. Our goal really is just to connect those dots for you.
Help you grasp what's important, what it means for the bigger picture,
Yeah.
and fast.
Exactly. Get you up to speed quickly.
We've definitely found some surprising facts, some crucial context, stuff that gives you a real shortcut to being well-informed.
Okay.
So let's unpack this. Let's jump right into what stood out.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Let's start with geopolitics. Some really high-stakes diplomacy happening. So for much of 2024 into 2025, the war in Ukraine, it had really settled into this grinding conflict, hadn't it?
Absolutely. A real stalemate. And sources show Western support was, well, kind of ebbing.
Right, and Russia was pressing offensives.
Mm.
So against that backdrop, we get this major development. President Trump and President Putin agree to meet
In Alaska, of all places,
in August.
9th and 10th.
Yeah, to discuss a possible peace framework.
And that prospect, it immediately sent ripples of alarm across Europe and definitely in Kyiv.
Understandably, the fear
A
of
feel about us without us. That phrase kept coming up.
like 1930s style diplomacy.
Exactly. That comparison was made reflecting this deep anxiety about big powers deciding the fate of smaller nations without their input, potentially disastrous outcomes.
And then Zelensky's reaction.
Very emphatic. Kyiv would not cede land, period.
And we also heard from Vice President J.D. Vance,
Yeah, he cautioned that any settlement, if one even happened, was likely to leave both sides unhappy.
which really just highlights how far apart they still are, right? Kyiv wanting full sovereignty, Moscow wanting to lock in gains.
Precisely. The gap is huge.
So the stakes here, our sources suggest, are immense. A deal fusing the lines.
Well, that could lock in Russian gains, normalize the occupation, potentially fracture Western unity quite badly.
But if the talks collapse,
Then you could be looking at another whole cycle of escalation. More fighting, maybe worse.
and Kyiv's position, that firm no ceded land stance,
It suggests they'll keep fighting unless they get solid guarantees on sovereignty and security. So even a supposed peace deal based on current lines could, paradoxically, just mean more conflict down the road.
fascinating. Okay, so from those potential frozen lines in Europe, let's shift to the intense situation in Gaza.
Right. A very different dynamic, but also incredibly tense.
So since the October 2023 Hamas attack, Israel's operations have aimed to dismantle Hamas.
But amidst growing, international pressure over civilian harm, that's been constant.
And by early August 2025, Israel's cabinet approves a new plan.
To seize control of Gaza City. Prime Minister Netanyahu on August 10th said the push should proceed fairly quickly.
Which sounds like a significant move.
It is. And that same weekend, Israeli airstrikes killed several Al Jazeera journalists in Gaza City.
Oh boy.
Israel alleged one was tied to a Hamas cell. Al Jazeera press freedom groups, they immediately rejected those claims.
Right. And meanwhile, rockets from Gaza.
2 projectiles were tracked into Israel. Fell in open areas, no injuries reported there.
But the announcement of this new offensive in Gaza City,
It sharply intensified the international scrutiny. Condemnation over the journalist deaths came quickly from European governments, media watchdogs.
and the humanitarian angle.
Agencies warned, renewed fighting in dense urban areas could make the famine risk much worse.
And complicate hostage talks.
Absolutely. Deepening those political rifts. The UN Security Council heard fresh calls for a ceasefire, more aid.
So it really highlights this dual pressure on Israel, doesn't it?
Immense pressure. Achieve military goals while navigating intense global criticism and these really grave humanitarian concerns.
It's such a stark illustration, isn't it? Military solutions versus the need for some kind of political track.
It really puts that conflict into sharp relief.
Okay, beyond those two major flashpoints, our sources picked up on a lot of other global maneuvers. Kind of reveals this constant tension, right? National interests versus broader security.
Definitely. Like on August 10th, Russian strikes hit the Zaporizhia region again.
Injuries reported,
Yeah, at least 12 people injured. Residential areas hit, a bus station, a clinic.
which just reinforces Kyiv's argument, I suppose.
Exactly. That any ceasefire needs real security guarantees,
Mm.
territorial integrity.
Hmm.
Just stopping the shooting isn't enough for them.
And then there's that poignant moment from Nagasaki.
August 9th, the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing. The mayor warned about the growing risk of nuclear conflict
That message must have resonated.
globally. Yeah. It reignited debates about non-proliferation versus, the hard security realities countries feel they face today.
Elsewhere, the UK.
London police arrested over 456 people. A big demonstration opposing the government's ban on Palestine action.
Citing public order offenses.
Right. Supporters of the group targeted defense contractors, used vandalism, civil liberties groups worried about, chilling dissent, a crackdown feel.
And in the US, domestically.
August 9th, the Trump administration issued this sweeping ultimatum to immigrants without legal status.
What was it?
Basically, leave voluntarily or face detention and deportation. Drew immediate condemnation from civil rights groups, religious leaders, sparked huge debates about reshaping communities, the economy.
Wow. And south of the border, Mexico.
Yeah, August 9th again. President Sheinbaum publicly denounced reports that the U.S. military might conduct operations against cartels on Mexican soil.
How does she react?
Stated very clearly Mexico would not tolerate foreign troops. Reignited that whole debate about cross-border cooperation versus national sovereignty.
Okay. And quickly, India and Pakistan.
Both announced plans for separate naval drills, just reflecting that ongoing military competition, making observers nervous about regional security risks again.
So putting it all together, it's constant motion, isn't it? Military standoffs, diplomatic chess, nations really asserting their own distinct visions.
Absolutely. High stakes everywhere. Okay, shall we pivot? Maybe to a different kind of pressure?
Yeah, let's talk climate and natural disasters.
Yeah.
It feels like this is just the new normal now, based on these sources.
It increasingly looks that way. First up, Milwaukee. Between August 9th and 10th, torrential rain.
How much are we talking?
Locally, over 10, maybe even 14 inches. Just deluged the area.
Yeah.
Water rescues, power outages.
Wow.
And they had to cancel the final day of the Wisconsin State Fair. The grounds were just full of water.
That's incredible. And the implications.
Well, sources suggest this will definitely intensify debates about drainage, infrastructure upgrades, resilient spending.
Especially when these once-in-a-century rains seem to happen much more often now.
Exactly. That phrase doesn't mean much anymore, does it?
Not really. Okay, across the Atlantic, Southern Europe.
Wildfires still raging. A really stark picture of extreme heat, shifting winds.
France.
August 9th, a huge wildfire in the south, scorched about 16,000 hectares. They didn't expect it under control until late Sunday. Firefighters really struggled with the conditions.
And Greece.
Just a day or so earlier, fires near Athens, near ancient Olympia too. Tragically, at least one person died, homes destroyed. Gale-force winds driving these fast-moving fronts.
So the same calls again. Forest clearing, early warnings.
Yeah, the damage reignited those calls, highlighting these sort of systemic vulnerabilities.
And back in the U.S., California.
Megafires there too. August 9th, 10th, thousands of acres burned, homes lost.
And the causes cited.
Experts consistently point to climate change, obviously, prolonged drought, and forest mismanagement as the root causes, leading to urgent calls for more federal aid, big investments in prevention.
It's not just fire and flood, though, is it?
No. On August 10th, a magnitude 6.1 earthquake hit northwest Turkey, Balıkesir province.
Damage.
Casualties. 1 death reported, 29 injuries, and at least 16 buildings collapsed.
Which sounds bad, but maybe less devastating than some past quakes in Turkey.
Relatively limited, yeah. Which actually underscores the value of stricter building codes they've implemented still. It definitely rattled public confidence.
Okay, one more in this category.
Yeah, August 10th again, southern France. A fire at a chlorine plant.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
It did. Authorities told nearby residents to stay indoors because of possible hazardous emissions. It really highlighted how vulnerable communities near industrial sites can be. Probably more pressure now for safety audits, better preparedness.
So connecting these dots, these aren't just isolated incidents, are they?
Not at all. Collectively, they paint a picture of growing strain on our infrastructure, on communities, all amplified by climate change.
It really underscores the urgent need for, well, a profound shift towards long-term adaptation prevention.
Yeah, it shows global warming isn't some future threat. It's a daily reality for millions now.
Okay, let's shift gears again. Let's dive into some fascinating shifts, breakthroughs maybe, across science, society, the economy, starting with public health and safety. By August 9th, authorities identified the suspect in that deadly shooting near CDC headquarters in Atlanta.
Right, I remember that. The reported motive was Unusual.
Yeah, reportedly he believed a COVID-19 vaccine had made him suicidal.
Wow.
So public health groups were urging officials to actively push back against false vaccine claims swirling around the case.
So it reignited debates about security, obviously, but also the real-world harms of misinformation, that insidious impact.
Yeah, different kind of incident, Times Square.
August 9th, 3 people shot and wounded there.
Which feeds into those ongoing national debates.
Policing, bail reform, gun access, yeah. And local businesses, you can imagine, were deeply concerned about the hit to tourism in such an iconic spot.
Definitely. And maybe most significant in this health area, plastic pollution.
Yes, that groundbreaking study came out around August 9th, revealing grave new health dangers.
Like what specifically?
Links to cancer, infertility, neurological disorders,
Yep.
and finding microplastics basically everywhere, even in global water supplies.
That's deeply concerning.
Hugely. It prompted policymakers worldwide to start drafting stricter regulations, sparked all sorts of public reactions, facing up to this pervasive plastic challenge.
It's insightful, isn't it? How health, safety, the environment, they're not separate boxes.
Not at all. They're deeply intertwined with societal debates, scientific discovery. It's all connected.
Okay, turning to tech, economy, space. That NVIDIA and AMD story caught my eye.
The China chip deal.
Yeah.
That was unusual.
So August 10th, a U.S. official reveals NVIDIA and AMD agreed to, what was it, remit 15% of revenue from advanced chip sales to China back to the U.S. government.
Right. In exchange for export licenses.
That's novel.
It really is. Expected to weigh on their margins for sure. But more than that, it sets a precedent, doesn't it?
How so?
It suggests this new era where national security concerns are, literally priced into tech trade. Companies have to fundamentally rethink global supply chains, maybe accept lower profits as the cost of doing business in key markets like China.
Fascinating. Okay, economically, we got some clarity from the Fed.
We did. August 9th, Fed Governor Michelle Bowman gave her take.
Which was?
The latest jobs figures supported her view that 3 rate cuts in 2025 were appropriate.
Our reasoning.
She framed the labor market as loosening enough to ease inflation pressures, but without risking a sharp downturn. A soft landing, basically.
And how did markets react?
Sources suggest they saw it as reinforcing expectations for that gradual easing path. Probably calmed some nerves about stability.
Good. And looking upwards, space.
Yeah, a positive story there. August 9th, the Crew 10 Dragon capsule splashed down safely in the Pacific.
Ending a long mission.
About 5 months. And it was an international crew. 2 NASA astronauts, 1 Japanese, 1 Russian cosmonaut.
So cooperation continues despite tensions on Earth.
Exactly. It reinforces that model of international cooperation in space that somehow persists.
The insight there being.
Well, I think it shows that even with all the geopolitical friction, economic incentives, scientific collaboration, they still push boundaries, still connect us.
A kind of pragmatic interdependence.
Yeah, that transcends the politics sometimes.
All right, finally, let's touch on societal progress and some ongoing challenges. A big milestone in sports.
A huge one, yeah. August 9th, a woman umpired her first regular season Major League Baseball game, believed to be Jen Powell.
That must have drawn a lot of attention.
Widespread attention, mostly praise,
Yeah.
a real breakthrough for gender parity in sports, and it sparked conversations about workplace equity everywhere. Really inspiring.
On the other hand, some difficult domestic issues. Homelessness in D.C.
Yes, August 10th, President Trump vowed to, quote, evict homeless people from Washington, D.C. Even suggested using the National Guard.
That sounds controversial.
Drew immediate backlash from civil rights groups. D.C. officials warning about constitutional conflicts. Supporters argued encampments threaten public safety.
What do experts say about that approach?
They generally note that forced relocation without providing services. It's usually temporary, very costly, and just addresses symptoms, not the root causes of homelessness.
Okay. Also seeing political friction. The Justice Department.
Yes, sources show the DOJ intensifying scrutiny of leading Democrats, including some former Obama administration officials, allegations of misconduct, improper fundraising.
Leading to sharp rhetoric.
Oh, yes. Democrats citing political motivations. Republicans emphasizing accountability, that familiar pattern.
And Harvard admissions.
The White House ramped up criticism there, too, alleging discriminatory policies. University officials defended their current procedures. That controversy could really influence national debates on educational equity.
Lots of friction points. But let's end this section on something different. Radioactive rhino horns.
Yes, a really creative approach to conservation. August 9th, South African scientists unveiled this radical anti-poaching strategy.
Making the horns radioactive? How does that work?
Mildly
Yeah.
radioactive, enough to trigger detection systems at borders, making them essentially worthless or too risky for the illegal trade.
Does it work?
Early field trials showed significant drops in poaching incidents where they tried it,
Yeah.
drew global attention as this, like, really ingenious solution to a persistent, heartbreaking problem.
Wow. Science delivering novel tool.
Exactly. For seemingly intractable challenges.
So, from inspiring breakthroughs like in baseball to these tough ongoing debates and then that kind of innovation, it really shows the diverse ways our world is evolving, confronting challenges often all at the same time.
Yeah, it's quite a mix.
Wow, okay. That was quite the deep dive. We've covered, gosh, everything from top-level global diplomacy
High stakes there.
all the way to the incredible ingenuity of scientists trying to save rhinos and the raw impact of climate change hitting cities.
Indeed. It's clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
While all these big events are shaping our daily lives, shaping international relations, there's also this underlying current. Innovation, adaptation, pushing us forward in different ways.
And that's really what we aim to do here, right? Give you that shortcut, that slightly more nuanced understanding that maybe goes beyond just the headlines.
Connecting it to the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
it really seems like the global landscape is in this constant state of tension
Tension between what?
between established powers kind of asserting their will
Hmm.
and then these emergent forces, nature, technology, social change, pushing back or creating new realities.
So, what does this all mean for you, the listener? As we've explored today, it feels like the world is simultaneously tightening its grip. In some areas, you see it in trade, security,
Yeah, definitely.
while at the same time actively seeking breakthroughs, new paths forward in others, space exploration, conservation like the rhinos.
That's a great way to put it.
So, this fascinating tension, right, between control and innovation. What does that actually mean for our collective future? How might that tension reshape our daily lives?
Something to chew on, definitely. A provocative question to ponder as you go about your day.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.